And one. So it's going to start and I'm going to introduce you. Good evening, listeners of Trivia's Inspirational Radio. I am Trivia Payne, the founder of Trivia's Inspirational Radio. And who do we have today? We have Miss Naheed from I'm not going to pronounce it right, I promise you. Oberfeld. No,
Oberfeld.
Yes, that Oberfeld coaching. I knew I wasn't going to say it right, but that's okay because you're going to give us an opportunity to introduce yourself, and we're going to do a question answer segment. Am I correct?
That's absolutely right. So first and foremost, thank you for inviting me. Can you imagine how amazing a lifetime we live in where we've got so many people mixing and melding together, which is why this is my husband's German name. I'm not at all German. I would never have met him if I was living in my country of birth. So this is a really amazing opportunity to be up here and maybe giving your listeners some further inspiration from what I have to share today.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. So do you want me to share a little bit about me or how do you want me to go?
So I'm going to be your assistant. You're going to host and I'm going to follow your lead. How about that?
Okay. I like that. So let me just explain a little bit about who I am and what I do right off the bat. Okay. So my name is Naheed Oberfeld and I am a mindset coach and a success strategist. So you might be asking yourself, well, what exactly does that mean? And I was thinking about what's the best analogy that might make sense for you, that might make sense for your listeners. And, right now it's about time for kids to consider, are they going to college? Because college will be, applications are coming in, all those kinds of things are coming in. And so imagine that you are in the process of deciding which college you want to go to. So how do we do it? We have our reach college, and then we have the colleges that we feel like, okay, we've got a good chance of getting in, right? That's pretty much how we've been trained to think about it. But the question I have to ask you is, what does that mean when you say it's your reach college? Usually, it means that you don't have something, right? Trivia, you're a teacher. You know that. You're missing something. You don't have the grades. Maybe you don't have the extracurricular activities. Maybe you don't have the right prep school. Whatever it happens to be, you feel like you're missing something.
Yes.
And then we take that and we internalize it because then we have a different message about ourselves. And we say, and this means I am what?
Yes.
Doesn't mean I'm smart, right? Nobody walks away saying that I don't have this, this, and this, and that I'm smart, right?
Absolutely. I say that all the time.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough.
Yes.
That is the message we tell ourselves over and over again. And the question is, how did we get that message? Like, who actually told us that because we don't have a 4.0 GPA in math, we are not smart in our own way?
Absolutely.
And that's what a mindset coach really does. You got to uncover what are those stories you tell yourself on a daily basis. And the reason why that's important is because today we're going to talk about goal setting. Everybody wants the goal. It's 2022. It's still the first month of the year, even though it feels a lot longer. And so we've got these desires, we've got these hopes, we've got these dreams, and now we don't know how to make them real. And the big part of that is because there's a story in our head that we tell ourselves, and that stops us. So Trivia, do you have something big that you're trying to create? I know you're trying to grow the things you're already doing, but is there something in your head that you're like, I really would like that?
I have a lot of that. So one of the things that I think about often is being a speaker.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that a whole lot because I believe that I'm called to be a motivational speaker, but as you said, those things in the back of my head just keep telling me something different.
And I love what you said, which is I am called to do something. And every single person has within their heart a calling, right? Every single one of us, it doesn't matter how you want to describe it, but there's an internal desire that you know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And ironically, the thing that calls us the most is the one that we're most afraid of. And that's what we're going to get into today. I really would like to not just talk, but actually do a little bit of a experience, a visualization, a journey with you and even with your listeners to say, okay, so I've got this dream for a really long time. It could be weight loss. It could be career success. It could be a relationship. It could be everything and a combination of those things. But what is it that keeps me coming back to that dream over and over every year? And I don't feel like I've made that much progress, or I've not made fast enough progress. Have you ever asked yourself, like, why? Why am I not here? I mean, you know your limiting belief, right? That I am X, Y, and Z. But have you ever stopped and said, well, other people have beliefs like that. How come they've gotten there? How come I've not gotten there? Right?
Yeah.
So would you all the time? Yeah, me too. Especially when we do something that we have a strong calling for, there's this belief in our head that we have to check every single box. We have to look a particular way. We have to show up in a particular way. We have to talk in a particular way. And so all those beliefs kind of show up in our head. And I don't mean physically. I'm not talking about anything physically. When I say look a particular way, there's still this expectation that people want us to present ourselves in a particular way, right?
Yes.
That our way of doing it is not going to be good enough. It's not going to be heard.
Yep.
So let's do a little bit of an exercise right off the bat so that we can help people understand what is going on inside of us and what are those beliefs that are stopping us and why, right? So I'm going to invite everybody to close their eyes and just bring your attention to your heart center. And if you are willing, I'm going to invite you to allow certain thoughts, certain beliefs, even certain phrases that might come up when I ask questions. And if you can just allow it to come up without filtering it. Don't make it bigger than, don't make it smaller than, don't make it somebody else's dream. This is just going to be your own dream. So get to that place in your heart where you know exactly what that dream is. Every one of you has a dream. I can promise you on that one. And I'd like you to take a moment and take some deep breaths. And if possible, breathe from your belly. That's your diaphragm. So breathe through there and imagine yourself having that dream today. What does it feel like stepping into that spotlight in your dream today? Really take a moment and feel all those good feelings. What is the emotion? How does your body react? What's your body language like? How does it feel when you've done it? When you're like, yes, I did it. And take a moment and really connect with those emotions and those body feelings. That's really important, the body sensation. And as you breathe it in, I'd like you to ground it in. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to take these emotions, take these feelings that feel really good, and I'm going to ask you to put it at a bit of a distance. So imagine there's a future self of yours. She's in it at a distance, and this future self has accomplished everything that he wants to accomplish. It's right there. She's done it. He's done it. It's right there. And there's a little bit of space between you and who you are today and the person that has accomplished everything. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself, and just whatever comes up for you, allow that to be your truth. When you think about getting from where you are to where you want to be, what's the number one yeah, but? As in, I want that, but I'm not capable of, or I'm not allowed to. What is that I'm not? That yeah, but.
I guess for me that yeah, but is my confidence isn't there. I don't really believe that I'm capable.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper. I'm not capable, and that means what? I don't have a message to tell that is interesting. I don't have an audience that I could tell it to. I don't have public speaking skills. What would that feel like? So for everybody who's listening to it, drill into it. What does that mean about me?
Still back to the confidence. I just don't believe I have the confidence to do it.
Okay, and when you think about that confidence, when did you decide that you don't have enough confidence? It didn't start today. It didn't start 6 months ago. When was that younger part of you who told herself or who felt like she was lacking in confidence? How old was she?
Don't remember, very young.
But if you were to pick an age, and you can just use your imagination here.
Probably about maybe 11.
Okay, so here's your 11-year-old self who's feeling the beginnings of low confidence, right? So for everybody, just tune into that younger part when you started to feel this. And as she was tuning into these feelings of low confidence, whose voice in her head reinforced this lack of confidence? I'll give you an example. It could be a sibling or a schoolmate that you looked at and you felt like they have so much, they know so much, they can do this easily. Or it could be a teacher who would pick you out and say, okay, you are different. You are not the same. You are not good as good as.
There were so many. There were some teachers, there were some classmates.
Okay. And that's exactly how it tends to be. We have a pattern, and that pattern gets reinforced. And for most of us, the pattern is low confidence. So I'd like you to take a moment. We're going to do a little bit of reimprinting for this young 11-year-old. Okay. And it could go earlier, and that's okay. We'll stick with 11. So I'd like you to see this 11-year-old. Imagine her in this safe space for you. And I want you to go up to her. I want you to sit down next to her. And I want you to introduce yourself and let her know that you are her from the future. And see if she's willing to talk to you. As you tell her that, if she will, ask her if she would be willing to talk to you. And if her answer is yes, I would like you to give her a new story to tell herself. See, she's stuck at 11 years old. She doesn't know what her future holds for her. She doesn't know how much you've accomplished in your life since 11. So you can do this internally, you can do this out loud, but I'd like you to take a moment and tell her all the amazing things, including what you're doing today, and how much she is accomplishing in her life. And as you're doing that, I'm going to invite all the listeners to consider reframing that story this young part of you has. Let her know how smart she is. Tell her how courageous she is because you stepped into some big things. How curious she is. I'm going to ask you, as you're telling her all of these things, what is her body language like? How is she taking in this stuff that you're telling her?
I guess I would say calm.
Okay, so is she accepting some portion of it? Yeah. So that's the new story you would like her to start believing in. Tell her you've got this big dream about going to be a speaker, that you've got these amazing stories to tell, and people are going to be interested in it. Ask her what she thinks about it. And if she feels good about it, then tell her she is welcome to come along for the ride. And reach your hand out to her and see if she's willing to grab hold of it. And it's okay if she's not fully ready. She may not be fully ready to grab hold of your hand, and that's okay. But you've started the process of shifting her mindset. You're teaching her the beginnings of a brand new story. And then when you're ready, you can take a few deep breaths and everybody can open their eyes. So how did that feel for you?
Actually relaxing. It was good and intimate.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to just a small part inside of you because that's where the story started, okay? The story didn't start today. And so when we start releasing these old memories and stories, we got to go back to that old place. And the way I do it is I use a very specific mind-body technique that is designed to uncover these stories so that we can start releasing them very rapidly and start moving forward. And so that's how I work as a as a mindset coach using a mind-body technique.
Awesome. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So can you tell the listeners how they can get in contact with you and just how you got started, and tell them how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I'll start with how they can get in touch with me. The best way to do it is by getting online, www.oberfeldcoaching, O B for boy, EERFELD coaching.com. And you'll learn a little bit more about my story as well over there. And really what it started off was, just as you said that you had all these teachers who brought your confidence down, it started with me. My pattern, I like to call it patterns, it sort of separates me from my story a little bit. My pattern actually started when I was in first grade. My teacher made a huge distinction between me and my best friend back then. And basically I was the dumb one and she was the perfect one. And it never occurred to me. I started living my life, moved away, even moved away from my best friend back then. And as I started having confidence issues, I just assumed it was me. I was not smart enough. I was not this enough. I was not that enough. And then I found out about this technique that I was telling you about, this mind-body technique. And for the first time, I understood, oh, wow, that's not my voice. I mean, it is today. It was the voice of my very specific first grade teacher. Then it became third grade teacher, then fifth grade teacher, and so on. And so I really decided I was going to change that story for myself.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited that you came on. I thank you for coming on. And I know that this is going to definitely reach someone who really needs to hear this. And I just want to tell the listeners, go on to her website. Her story is phenomenal. She just gave you a little piece of it, but it will blow your mind. It has blown my mind. It has had me thinking since I've met her, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And how did I get here? Where did it originate from? And the exercise was amazing. So I just want to say thank you for coming on as I begin to close out this segment. And if you want to stay on for a second, we can connect. But